Oh shit! What is going on, everybody? So good to see you guys on this crazy fucking Tuesday. Let's make sure that everyone in Facebook land can see us and whatnot. You know how it is because Chuck is not as good as this as he should be. In fact, my wife is going to hate to hear this because she's been on my ass about me being better at the business. I made a coffee account. You know, a little account where you can put up your coffee link and people can throw money in as if to buy you a coffee. I did that, and that was like 6 months or maybe even a year ago. Like it was a long time ago. And I got to the very end where they're like, okay, you can start doing this. Just attach your bank account to it. And I was like, oh, Wendy's got the card. And then I just never did anything with it. And I'm like, I could have been making money doing something with this all along. And my lazy ass, this is what happened. So here we are right now, my lazy ass dealing with this because I'm not brilliant enough to just do it ahead of time. So let's edit the live video. No, we want to edit the audience. No, now it's taking me to the video. I don't want that. We have a great guest tonight. I might as well move beyond this shit. We have a really great guest tonight. We've got Edward Davis in the house. He's been on here before. He and I have worked together on many things. Well, on several things. We've worked together on cool, it started. We've worked together on Immortal Era, I think 7 and now 9. But he'll tell me because I think actually there might be more than that. He'll let me know which numbers because it might be I might have actually worked on 3 of them. Like this might be my 3rd one now. I'm not sure. And he's probably in. I could probably look right now and see him. He's like speaking in there, going, "No, idiot! It was this many." Cool. And I'm going to let's see if we can actually tag Edward Davis. No, we can't. Jokes. Okay. All right. Whatever. Cool. All right. Let's save this bad thing. Okay. Cool. So this should work now. People should be able to see it. If you do, please let us know. Say anything. As always, like, share, comment. It helps an awful lot. Like I said, we got a really great show tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun. Ed and I love to talk about writing and creation, of course. So Steph Wilson's going to hate this fucking episode because he can't stand people who talk about writing because that's all writers really do is we just talk about writing. And sometimes we write. But someone is out there. If you are, please comment. Let us know what's going on. Good to see you. Multiple people. All right, so we got things happening. We got the likes happening. Hopefully we got the shares. Hopefully we get some comments soon so I know that who's here and who I'm chatting with. And who we're going to be entertaining. As always, guys, ask questions, have some fun. I mean, really, just do whatever the fuck you want. Like that's kind of how the show is. So I think we've gone long enough. Got a good crowd coming in. So why don't we start this bad boy off and make this happen? So without any more adieus.
Canadian bacon is actually really good, and it's nothing like normal bacon, and it's better than ham, which you guys seem to call Canadian bacon. I'm very good at writing. I write very well. Yeah, it's Shop Talk.
Do some of your audience members like the word fuck? Cool, then I'm going to keep saying fuck. Because I care.
Buddy, what's going on?
What is up? How's it going?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. How you been?
I've been good. I was battling a cold. It seems to be on the way out, but man, it was a freaking juggernaut of a cold. And I thought I had COVID. I tested and I'm clean, but I thought, fuck, not again. So luckily it's just the mega cold. And
right.
I've done interviews where I can barely talk. So this is about the best voice I'm bringing to an interview. So I'm glad I can actually talk without just sounding like Tom Waits with you.
Right? Bring your best here. I like that. I really like that. Well, and you're a teacher, right? So you were saying earlier you're a teacher, so you
Yeah.
talk a lot. So that's
So yeah, you feel like after Sunday, I'm like, all right, it's feeling good. I'm going to be able to talk again. Then you go in and talk for 6 hours over, 36th graders, and so much for that voice you thought you had.
yeah. So
But even on a good day, that can be the case.
have you had to do? I mean, conventions, isn't that kind of the same thing where like you're just talking all day? Because like for me, I know like I'll come home from a convention and Wendy's like, "Oh, you must have done well," because I'll just be like, "Hey, girl, what's going on?" You know, like I can barely
Oh
fucking
yeah.
talk.
If you don't come home with the rasp, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, get on. What do you do? Do you do anything for your voice?
I use the chloroseptics, and then
Okay.
I'll try to have like some tea or something like
Yeah.
that to sip on throughout the day. But yeah, I got them right here. Just the chloroseptics, the ones that numb you, and you're just that ice water and like sip on some tea, honey, and pinch of turmeric, and get ready for 3 days of losing your voice. But I think I come at an advantage because I have to do it all day long. I mean, there are teachers who sit on their ass and just, let the kids do their thing. But I'm one of those move around the class, always talking, always energetic. And you bring that same energy to a con and people they're shocked. But it's like, that's my job. I have to do that, or the sixth graders will devour you.
Right. Yeah, no, I believe it. So Josh, we can't see. I can, because I'm watching both my chat on StreamYard and my computer, the multiple things going on, almost like I'm a professional. Far be it. Far from the truth. But Josh says throat coat teas, licorice root and elm bark, and make sure they're caffeine free. That's fucking
Okay.
thank you, man.
Yeah,
That's really
I will
helpful.
try that because I got a show coming up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and going in not at 100% has me freaking out because I mean, you got to be able to pitch, and like you said, you already go home with no voice. But if you come in where you're only at 50%, it's going to make it a lot harder. So I'm hoping over the next 2 days I can kind of get back to 100% and then just trash it all over the next 3 days in Vegas.
Right. I feel like, and maybe I'm weird or whatever, but like I feel like when I'm there, you put it all on the floor anyways. Like you leave it all there regardless. So I'm not necessarily worried about being sick. It's just more that it's gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
But I'm still like I'm gonna leave it all there. And I have one of my favorite stories. Phil Lockler's in the house. Good to see you, buddy.
So,
One of my favorite stories is it was one of my first cons. It was actually my first con alone. And it was a local one nearby. I just had to drive like 20 minutes into town to do this 3-day show. And I was fucking sick. This is obviously pre-COVID. But fucking terribly sick. And I was taking everything. Like just because there was so many different, I had all the symptoms. So I had to take all sorts of different things. And I got there and I realized, oh, fuck, like, I think I did something bad. I think I overdosed because my head's swimming. I'm nauseous. I have no balance. And I'm fucked. Like high. I'm high, but not, I never want to be at a convention.
Yeah.
And of course I'm still sick too. So luckily I had booth mates beside me, and his wife at the time was a nurse. So I just said to them, hey, look, I'm not trying to freak you out. These are my symptoms. These are the things that I took. And I pulled out all the different drugs that were in my bag and I said, I took them, and I said, I think I've overdosed.
Oh shit.
And she's like, oh my gosh, what do you want to do? And I was like, honestly, I don't know what we can do right now except write it out.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm telling you is if I fucking drop here, someone has to know what happened. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. So it's like all the stuff is right there in the top pocket. Everything, like I think I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna write it out, and I did, and I did good. But there's one picture from that show where you see me, and it's me. You wouldn't even be able to tell. And I'm there with my book, and I'm like, and I'm pointing at it, and everyone's like, oh yeah, it's fucking Chuck. I was on my fucking deathbed, motherfucker. Like I was so fucking sick, ready to throw up at any moment. overdosing, like just messed up,
Yeah.
and it didn't matter. If someone comes to the table and they want that book, all that shit has to go away,
Oh yeah.
and you're a salesman. So I think you're gonna do great. And I haven't seen you at shows, but I know you've done more than enough shows, and I've seen how well you've done at the shows. That
Yeah.
I'm not, you should be afraid just for yourself, just, because worrying is a good thing. It means you give a shit. But I
Yeah.
don't think you should be afraid, because I think you're going to go out there and fucking knock it out anyways.
Yeah, I mean that's always my goal, and I see my neighbors sitting passively on their cell phone. I'm like, your sales are mine. I'm
Yeah.
going to steal all of them. So thank you for making it easy.
All your sales are mine. I love that. Do you have any good? Because I mean, you've done like San Diego and whatnot, right?
Yeah, I did San Diego on the special edition year. I
Okay.
didn't do it. I haven't done the regular because I had attendee badges that kept rolling over and over. So I went this year and it was the craziest itch because I see empty tables. I'm like, I could be at that table and I could be moving a lot of books. I networked in other ways at San Diego this year and met some good connections that are going to pan out later. But I felt just like I was missing out on something when I talk to people that I've seen at con after con, and they're like, why the hell aren't you on this side of the table right now? It's like, we've watched you. We need you over here because you bring energy to our whole row. And I'm just like, I feel like I need to sneak some shit in my backpack and just sell books tomorrow. But the last thing I need to do is get blacklisted by San Diego. So
yeah, right.
I went and asked them. I said, hey, I see like 6 empty tables. People are eating lunch at those tables. Why not give them to me? I'm 90 minutes away. I can have a table set up tomorrow and you have the rest of the weekend. I said, I'll pay the prorated price. I don't care. And they're like, well, we got to talk to this person and that person. I'm like, all right, that means it's not happening. So
yeah,
I laid it out there. I'm like, I'm happy to set up and not make your table a spot for lunch.
yeah, yeah. And why people aren't more worried about that, I never understand.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I like, if I see empty tables in my alley, I get pissy. Because
Yeah.
the more empty tables there are in your alley, the less likely people are going to walk by. I remember being in an aisle where there was it 4 or 5? Yeah. So it was four on each side.
Mm-hmm.
The one beside us was empty. Then we were here. Then the other one beside us was empty. And then further down, there was a dude there. Then across from us, the guy at the corner was there, and then the rest of his row was empty.
Yeah.
So anyone walking by on Friday, they don't give a shit about us.
No,
Saturday,
you look like a dead row. They're gonna move along.
Exactly. Saturday,
You're
people
a
came
car
in.
lot with 2 cars. They're not stopping there. They're going to the one down the way that's got a whole lot full of them.
And so what we started doing is we spread out over 2 tables.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, motherfucker, if you're not going to be here, cool, it's mine now. So we spread it over 2 tables. And then on Sunday, when it started to kind of quiet down, we would station each other at either end of the aisle. And we would talk to people as they walked past the aisle. And we'd be like, hey, man, do you like comics? Do you like novels? Because there was a novelist in there, too. And we're like, we'll help you, too, man. Like, let's just get people in there. I don't even give a fuck if they don't come to my table. They just got to come into the row.
Get them down your row, and then you got a fighting chance. And that's the special edition and LA were the first 2 cons back in California, and a lot of people were still not feeling comfortable getting back out there. So there were tons of empty tables, and we all did it. I talked to my neighbor. I'm like, you got a big art spread. Why don't you take half this? I said, I'm driving home every night. I'll bring all my original artwork. Nobody's going to pay $150 for a page, but it looks good to have the table filled out. So I brought shirts and all the things that never sell at a con. I loaded them up. So we did the same thing. Yeah, every one of us had 2 tables, and our row looked like it was, bustling. So people came, people stopped, and it worked out. But you hate when you walk in and see that because you don't know how long you want to wait, but you don't want to leave it too long and just let the traffic disappear.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Sean Bar Wars here. He says, I've been told I can sell ice to an Eskimo. First off, they're not Eskimos now. They're Inuits. Just letting you know. Not a big deal. But also, who told you this? I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying, if somebody who was a shitty salesman said it, well, then what does that even mean, right? But nah, dude. I mean, and I've seen Sean on shows and whatnot, so I have no doubt that he can sell. Just be louder. Being loud helps.
Oh yeah, you can't be the quiet one, and you have to look like you're actively engaged and that you really want to be there. Because so many people, I mean, when you have those slow hours and it just feels like a slog, and you get that depressed look, and the cell phones come out, or they start doodling. I mean, I'm not an artist. No one wants to see my shit, but
Yeah.
still, I'm standing the whole time. My feet are a wreck by the time I'm done. But still, I'm going to stand, I'm going to engage, and I'm going to tell everyone, hey, you got 30 seconds? Want to hear a quick elevator pitch? No, you got 10? I'll give you the shortened version. So you're constantly engaging, and yeah, they're going to walk away, but who cares? The next one might not. And then sometimes you get that snowball where one person stops, they hear it, and the next one hears it. And then I hear a guy down the row telling my pitch to someone else and pointing at me. So I'm like, all right, it worked. And that kind of gets the traffic flowing.
Yeah, Sean says you need those hook elevator pitches. You really do. Especially like for you at the moment, because I know you are creating another series.
Yeah.
But you have the one series, so it's a little easier. But when you have multiple books, you kind of have to have, like, for me, I have quick pitches.
Yeah.
It's basically like 3 to 5 second long pitches for each book at the table, just to be like bam, 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 bam. So they can listen to all of them and go, cool. What amongst all that interested me the most?
Mm-hmm.
And then they can move on to that. And so that helps a little bit. But yeah, dude, obviously, the elevator pitches are huge. Now, you've done a bunch of shows.
Yeah.
Mostly just in Cali?
I did Phoenix. I caught COVID on the second day, but didn't know it. So that was my adventure in sick, because I did the same thing. I'm like, it started out like allergies, and I have bad allergies. So I just figured, all right, someone probably had perfume around me, and I just went and got all my allergy meds. But then you got that head fog, and I started forgetting my own pitch. I'm like, I've done this fucking thing so many hundreds of times, and I'm fumbling over the words. And then I got home and had the raging fever after driving home. So I've done Phoenix. This will be my second round in Vegas. And then I did Tampa last year.
Oh, cool.
And Tampa was great. It was the first con back in Florida. And that's still my biggest numbers, not book numbers. My biggest book numbers were San Diego, where I sold just $5 at a time and quadrupled my table. Where at Tampa, I had the luxury of a few people buying the graded stuff, and one graded book is like 30 single issues, so it takes that burden off a lot. So
how much are you selling your graded books for?
2 more states a year. What's that?
How much are you selling your graded books for?
It depends on which one. So with issue 1, I'm down to 2 graded copies left. So I throw those on the table for $150 and see what happens.
Wow. And
the last show I went to, someone bought them. And then 1, 2, and 3 are basically almost gone. So those ones are $150, $185. And then 4 through 6 are like $65, and people are pretty happy to pay that. And then for my shorter, my variant prints that I do 25 of, those ones are all 85 to 100. And they do pretty well. I'm hoping this year I'll be doing LA Comic-Con, and I got approved for another exclusive cover, and I'll have graded copies of the first year's cover too. So I'm hoping those blow out at the con. Oh,
that's badass. Good for you, man. Nicholas Mueller's in the house. Good to see you, buddy. If you guys, right now we're talking about cons. Any con do's or don'ts, or just questions about how people do cons or whatever, please by all means ask. And of course, John Westhoff's here too. 2 cool guys. Where? I don't know who he's talking about. But no, and I totally feel you. So when we're talking about conventions, like I said, you've done a bunch. Um, uh, is there, we're talking about selling well and pushing hard. I got to get off my ass and sign up for grading. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
gonna do.
it's worth it. You'll get a new market, but if nothing else, it brings eyes to the table. Because those
Yeah,
people that would normally skip right through Artist Alley or small press see some graded books and they come over. I mean, they think they're going to find some amazing deal on a rare Spider-Man or something. And I've had people be dicks about it, like, oh, I thought you had real graded books. But in the end, it's eyeballs. And some people are going to be dicks whether they're that way or
yeah,
not. But yeah, that one, I'm like, you have to hold the go fuck yourself in really tight because that's what you want to say. But you're like, no, I have, Immortal Era and it's CGC certified. So it looks pretty real to me. Because you
yeah.
can't just be entirely nice because they're assholes, but still. You
We
can't look
so
like you're that dick that alienates someone else that might be walking
right.
up.
No, absolutely. So I usually share tables with a good buddy of mine who does the book, Stormy Douglas Brown. Great dude. He's a quieter guy, so he loves having me around because I bring people over and then he scoops them up and he shows them his awesome book. So we're
Yeah.
a good team, and he does really well, and his art's beautiful. He's really talented dude. I kind of hate him for it, but he decided something he was gonna do was he was gonna try putting out a bowl of candy.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And of course, it's all wrapped up, so it's no big deal. You just grab
Yeah.
like a mini chocolate bar and walk away or whatever. So we had that, and people were just walking up and grabbing them, which wasn't a big deal, but they
Yeah.
weren't even stopping. And at one point, one of the artists nearby, his dudes who were helping him, they saw the candy, and this was like a fucking like 65-year-old man walks
Mhm.
over, grabs a handful of candies and walks away, and then
Wow.
starts sharing them with everyone. I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Your dude over there makes enough fucking money to pay all of you. We're gonna have a hard time making table and you're gonna steal candy from us?
Yeah.
Are you
That's
fucking
that's
kidding me?
that's low.
I snapped.
Mm.
But you've got that moment like you talked about where it's like I have to find a way to handle this without looking like a piece of shit,
Yeah.
but I have to handle it.
Oh yeah. You
So
can't just keep it in.
yeah. So I grabbed one of my business cards, turned it over, and wrote on the back, and then put it up in front of the bowl. We keep going. I've kind of forgotten about it, and a young woman walks up, looks down at the candy, looks down at the note, then looks at my buddy Doug, and she says, "All right, let's hear your pitch."
Ah.
And he was like, "What?" And she's like, "I want some candy. Let's hear the pitch." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Okay." And so he gives the pitch. I'm laughing my ass off the whole time. And she goes, "Cool. It sounds like a really good book. Thank you very much." She grabs a candy and walks away. And he's like,
Yeah.
"What the hell was that?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I told him the story about the dude stealing the candy and how much it pissed me off. Then I showed him my card. And on the back of my card, it said, "If you're going to take candy, you have to listen to my pitch first."
Perfect. Yeah. And that's the way to do
And
it.
he puts that up every time. And I don't know what it is about a sign, but everybody fucking listens to it. What has gone on, Stephanie Wilson? Everybody fucking listens to the sign. So speaking of assholes, we had a dude at one of our shows walk up, and thanks, man, dude. It seriously, it fucking worked. I'm not gonna put the candy out there, because I'm a cheap piece of shit, so I don't want any more overhead than I already have. But also, there's like an ego thing for me where I'm like, I don't fucking eat candy, but he's got the candy. Let's utilize it. So, yeah, the sign worked really well. So, this guy walks up and he goes to grab a candy and then he stops and he says, "Wait, I can't just take the candy?" And Doug's like, "Well, I mean, all you have to do is listen to me talk about my comic for like 15, 20 seconds and then you can take whatever you want." He's like, "Well, that's dumb," and then walks away. And I was like,
Oh man.
"What? Like, dude, I mean, it's virtually free candy, and all you have to do is waste 15 seconds of your time listening to his pitch. Are you serious right now?" It was so ridiculous. I join and he brings up assholes. Yeah, it came about quite organically, my friend. So yeah, I get that guy. The fuck you. So are you telling me, Steph, that writer pitches anybody's pitches? We're all pitching something. You don't have to pitch, Steph, because all you do is do tits. No one has to pitch tits. They pitch themselves. Not worth it. So at conventions, Ed, you were talking about having to be a bit of a pitch man and push forward and whatnot. Yeah. And I mean, we've all heard the do's. Be louder, be excitable, have fun, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe a Clark bar? No one eats Clark bars anymore. What are you, in the 1950s? Shit, let's just get them some saltwater taffy. So what would you say are some don'ts when it comes to, like, I mean, as far as like you're being loud, you're being presentable and whatnot, what are some things you shouldn't do? Like, you definitely shouldn't shout. What are some other things, though?
You don't want to shout, because there was a guy, he watched me on the first day in LA, and he saw that I was constantly stopping people and pitching them. And it's always, good morning, hi, how are you today? I give a simple greeting. And this guy goes, do you like drugs in Star Wars? And he just starts screaming it at everybody. And he goes, my book has drugs in Star Wars. And it's like, I would move as fast as possible if I were in the aisle to get away from him.
I think I would stop, I'll be honest. But I don't think I'm normal. Do you like drugs in Star Wars? I do. Where is all of this amazing stuff?
It's like you're limiting your market, but he watched the first day as pretty much if they came down the aisle, I was going to greet them in some capacity. And he was doing the more passive thing, like let my book sell itself because the beautiful art. I'm like, you're in a fucking sea of
that shit doesn't work.
Dude.
Yeah.
Everybody's got beautiful art on their table. And
everyone's got blinders.
Better art than yours. You might have better than them, but what else? I mean, the story is what people want to stick around for. So he started kind of shouting at people, and then the guy next to him was super shy and he's kind of cowering away. But yeah, that became his thing, was just to scream at people as they were going by. And yeah, some people stopped. So they're like, fuck yeah, I like both those things. Let's talk. And he sold books, and, you know, good for him, because in the end, we want all the people to succeed.
Yeah.
But I just figure if they're lazy, all right, I'll take care of it. I'll handle it.
Yeah.
Steal all your sales. But
if you don't want to sell, that's fine.
My book's not for everyone. And that's the thing. That's kind of my one dilemma at a con, is I got one product. And if you're not into, you know, post-apocalyptic gore, I've been yelled at, oh, you gave me nightmares today. Looking at that bloody page, and, you know, I've had people like, I just want funny books. I'm like, I can't present you comedy. So that guy over there has a really funny book. I was flipping through it earlier.
That's good. That's good to be able to point them towards someone.
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, I said, I teach and my students can't look at my book, but that family book over there is the best. And you kind of shoot people the other direction, because in the end, we want to all succeed, because we want the traffic to be strong enough so that everyone's there to buy something that we're selling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Steph Wilson says the 6-foot stand-up of a sexy girl art was a good draw in Vegas. Actually, it would. Like, that was, dude, I saw that thing. It was, I mean, it's Steph's art, so it was beautiful, but it was, yeah, of course. I mean, and that's why banners are such a big help. Of course, having that on a banner is even better. But, man.
I got nothing sexy like that, but I do have my skeleton that has running references. So I'll get marathoners who will stop.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I run races. And I'm like, how do you feel at the end of the race? That's about the summary of it. You know, the dying skeleton that can't quite get there. So you can strike up that and catch the runner crowd. And the last con I did, I sold a couple shirts to people who had no interest in my book, but just liked the skeleton logo.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I just want to run a race in that shirt. So it's like, the banner works for, you know, a different target audience.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Sean says, don't be a dick to your con neighbors. Dude, that one is huge.
Yeah.
Do you have any dick con neighbor stories?
For me,
I have a good one.
I don't think I've really. Oh, well, never mind. In Phoenix, I was setting up. I was setting up later because I had to drive in the night before, and there was so many different problems, so I didn't get to set up on Friday night for the Saturday con. And the woman next to me basically put her shit the entire way on her table and through mine. And I tried to ask her, "Oh, could you move over a little bit? You're in my space." Well, yours is just a picture. Mine's stuff to sell. And I'm like, "But you're in my space. Your shit, your people are stopping at my booth to look at your shit." And she came in like 2 hours late every day, and she was selling sexy stuff. So she sold the way more than I sold. Sexy pillows, I think it was. But the fact that I asked her to scooch over and stay in her own space and she refused, it's like, what am I going to do? Am I going to go to the con, the head of the con, and fight this battle? But yeah, that was my one. In general, my neighbors have been pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I had one who did not like the fact that I was constantly pitching and constantly working. They're like, "You reek of desperation." I'm like, "You're selling fucking art. It sells itself. I'm selling a book. They're not going to sell themselves. So whatever I reek of, it's money in my wallet." So
yeah. I've had people say that too, where they're like, "Oh man, you sound desperate," and I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm not, because I'm not desperate. I'm doing well."
Yeah, and that's
but I'm
pushing,
my man.
Financially successful con. So reeking of desperation must be a good smell. I'll use it more often.
I'll have to get that Axe body spray. Axe Desperation.
I'll buy that one. Desperation by Axe.
So mine, and you're right. For the most part, everyone's really cool.
Yeah.
There was 2 incidences that I saw. One directly affected me. One was somebody else. The one to somebody else, Don, I saw you shared the video. Thank you, buddy. Much love to you. One was, excuse me. The guy next to me, he's selling his art pieces and whatnot. And somebody is looking at his stuff, and I guess they had like a special costume on or whatever.
Yeah.
And someone from way across the way comes over and says, "I love your costume.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of my character. Can I show you my book?" And the guy's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Snags the person from his booth mid fucking while he's being sold on something and takes him over to his table.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's dirty. And
this dude was just like, "That's fucking bullshit." And so he hung out there for a couple minutes and sold angrily. And then after a minute, he's like, "Can you watch my stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he walked right over, because I guess that person had now left that booth, and walked right over. I could just see him. He's like, and he's just like right in his face, like, "That is bullshit. Don't you ever fucking." And I was like, yeah. So that was one. Do not pillage other people's shit, man.
And
someone's talking to them, let them finish.
Yeah, I never stop anyone when they're pitching. I may be looking at them like I need them at my table because that looks like someone who might like my stuff. But while my neighbor's pitching them, I'm silent. And then when they walk away, then I try to pitch, and you hope that they still have money left. But yeah, never steal one. But it's funny. I got a story in my head of the worst neighbor. He wasn't a dick to me because he was just a dick in general. So his humanity was evil. So he was selling Godzilla prints, expensive as hell. We're talking for like a poster that I know what that shit costs. He's charging $50. So there's this little kid in a Godzilla outfit. He's wearing a little inflatable Godzilla costume, and he sees the booth that's nothing but Godzilla, and he's pointing so excitedly. So he goes up in his Godzilla costume. He's bouncing with excitement, wanting to be noticed by the man who did all the Godzilla prints. He's sitting on his phone, completely impervious. And I'm looking at this kid. I'm like, my heart's fucking breaking right now. And he's just like bouncing, exciting. And he's like, "Excuse me, sir, are you going to buy anything or what?" And the poor little kid, you see the whole little Godzilla costume just droop in sorrow and walk away. I'm like, that's the worst moment. I wish I could give that kid one of my books just to make him feel better. Because he just kind of, his dad even went away. Like, I'll let you go talk to the Godzilla guy. And yeah, he was a dick. Because someone's like, oh, how much is a print? $50. He's like, well, would you take 20? Is this a fucking swap meet? And
holy shit.
He left like after 2 hours on Sunday. He's like, fuck this con. This shit's bullshit. No one's here is going to make any money. I'm like, damn, I've already tripled my table. I don't know what your problem is. I'm like, well, I guess I do know what your problem is. When you tell people it's not a swap meet, it's like, of course, someone wants to look at the CGC books. They're like, oh, are you willing to barter? I'm like, sure, let's talk. Yeah. And you may tell them, no, like, I can't sell it that low. And I'll even tell them, like, grading fees are pretty high. If I sold it that low, it would be that would be less than my grading fees were. So you be nice to people, but you're selling shit that maybe at the most cost you $2 a print. And you're going to yell at people for not wanting to pay $50. Yeah. But yeah, that was the worst neighbor. Luckily, he was so in his own cell phone world that he never talked to me.
It was just like minor little, yeah.
And then when I would tell him, like, yeah, I'm doing okay. You know, I've sold enough books on Saturday to make my table. So Sunday's gravy. Well, yeah, I guess some people do fine. I'm like, yes, people that aren't miserable.
Yeah. So my bad one was, we had, I was at the small con in Dallas, and a dude just across and to the right puts on music. Ooh. And I'm fucking talking, and I have to talk over the fucking music. Oh. I had to go across to him multiple times and be like, dude, you need to shut that shit off.
Yeah.
I can't. And he's like, well, I mean, come on, man. Like, I'm getting people entertained and excited. And I'm like, if you can't do that yourself, I don't know what to tell you. And he's like, look, it works for me. And I'm like, fine. Well, make it so they can hear it when they pass you.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't have to hear it over here. Yeah.
That's like, yeah, that's so inconsiderate.
Battle the whole fucking weekend.
Section.
And I don't think he remembers me because we've seen each other at shows afterwards. And he's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, hey, what's up? I don't fucking like you. Like, I wouldn't say that. But the whole time, that's what's going through my head. Like, hey, man. You're here, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. I mean, I've been stuck next to the DJ, but that's someone from the con. So you mean it sucks when you got to yell at the DJ, but that's on the con. That's not some table being a dick.
Oh. Sean says, yeah, do support other creators. If they recognize you doing that, they'll point people back to you. And that's totally true. Now, I would say, I think the important thing is don't get bogged down, though, in the karmatic aspect of it. And what I mean by that is, don't go, well, I sent that guy 2 people. He hasn't sent me anything. Yeah, man, that's going to happen. Some people aren't going to think about it the way you do. But someone will. And at the end of the day, we talk about supporting indies. Fucking own it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if that means that you don't get supported, that sucks. I'm sorry, man. But it doesn't mean you stop. No, it just means maybe next time, instead of sending them to that guy, send them to somebody else. You know, like maybe there's a different table, and maybe that person will treat you better. Maybe you'll find your clique, your crew, your people at that con. I know that I had people come by. I asked them if they liked comics, and they were like, no, but they were dressed fully in the fucking steampunk stuff.
Okay.
So I took them over to Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon, who were doing Heirs of Isildur, and I was like, dude, these guys aren't into comics, but they love steampunk.
Yeah.
Why don't you see if you can show them something? And they were like, holy crap, yeah. And I mean, these people were like 3 rows down from me, but it's worth it. Like, you know what? You help people out, and those people ended up buying a bunch, and they're still fans of theirs to this day. Yeah, I didn't get shit from it. I didn't sell anything. But you know what? Steph and Matt have had my back since then. They've always been good to me. I didn't do it for that. But
in a different way.
Yeah. So yeah, it's totally worth it. Sean says, charge them part for your space. Yeah, right. I feel
commission.
Yeah. Steph said I had Victor Maya as a neighbor in Vegas. He was awesome. That's fucking cool. Dominic's in the house. Good to see you, buddy. We had a DJ slash booth comic behind us. It was kind of nice. He dropped good beats. Well, there you go. Everybody
Yeah.
is into sexy art. I mean, annoyingly
Yeah,
enough, yeah, they are.
You can't lose with that. And I think I
Yeah.
see those sexy art people selling, quadruple what I'm selling. I'm like, oh man, maybe I need a risque cosplayer to do one of my characters. But I'm like, it's not my market. So I'll let them have their market and I'll do mine. But yeah, I was at HorrorCon last month and I was right next to the DJ booth. It was loud, but the music was good and the DJ was really cool. And I would even ask him, like, can you take it down a tiny notch when it's not like big performance moment? Because he was rapping and stuff too. And he was fine with it. And he ended up buying my book and like, dude, we need you at a couple of our events. Just bring your energy and sell your books there. So, I mean, if you're a dick to the people, it can always backfire.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here is Steph pushing his variants. He's saying what you need is a sexy variant cover.
Well, you know what? You might not be wrong.
And actually, you do have some sexy characters.
Yeah.
So that's not a terrible idea.
No, it could actually work. It's just as a variant, it's not your main and it's not what's going to be behind me, but it can bring different eyes to the table. Just like I say, get books graded, it brings eyes to the table. Well, that would too. And the more eyes, the better.
Oh, now he's got sexy people there.
So, Steph, are you going to Unicon this weekend in Vegas? And I know we got to wait for a response. It feels like I'm doing distance learning now. Like ask a question and wait 5 minutes for a response.
Right. No, see, I know that Steph doesn't like to do conventions because they don't bow down and kiss his ass. Yeah, Steph, I said it.
I'm still waiting for my ass to be kissed. It hasn't happened yet.
Right. That's because we don't do sexy books. Yeah, he just did Vegas. I think he did the awesome
yeah,
con.
I know they have two right next to each other, which is messy planning, but
yeah.
That's
but if they both do well, good for them.
Yeah. And the one that I'm doing, the table is pretty inexpensive. And we were able to get our hotel with pure points. So we're not paying for a hotel and the table was $125. So I'm like, if I can't make $125, I quit.
Yeah.
Even in a bad
I feel you.
Like I made more at a swap meet. So if I can't make that in a real proper con, then I'm not doing it right.
I have never been to a con before. Hopefully, Dom, you got to go to a show, man. Wherever you are, just go check out your. I mean, do 1 day of a show. It's not that expensive. It's a lot of even the local ones are anywhere from, I think even the big ones, they end up being anywhere from, cons can range pretty much from like, I'd say $10 up to like, what would you say, like 50?
Unless you're talking San Diego where it's 150 a day now.
Is it 150 a day to get in?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
But if you look on Gold Star and Groupon, for some of the smaller local ones, they'll give away free tickets. And that's been kind of my saving grace for some of the smaller cons that I've done. I did Ontario, California, not Canada, which is like 20 minutes away from me. It's a really small con, but they gave free tickets for Sunday. So Sunday was booming and those people didn't have to spend money to get in the door. So they had more money to spend on books. And Long Beach, one of the last ones I just did with Asshole Godzilla Neighbor, that one, they gave away free tickets on Sunday as well. So Sunday actually had more foot traffic than Saturday. So look on Gold Star, look on Groupon, see if any one of your local cons are giving away free tickets for a day.
Yeah. I was talking with someone because they were speaking about, and I really love this idea. Convention people, if you're out there, I think this is a neat idea. They were talking about how the last 2 to 3 hours of a show can be absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Because, people don't have money, they're kind of done, and you're just kind of sitting there waiting to pack up.
Yeah.
And or you're desperately trying to find the few people who still have money who you can sell to. So what they said was, to alleviate that, make the last 2 to 3 hours of the Sunday, the last day of the show, free for anybody who wants to come in.
Yeah, that's the way to
Because
do it.
by that point, those people weren't going to come in anyways. No one's coming in for 3 hours of a show. No one's going to pay your full fucking ticket price.
Yeah.
They weren't going to come in anyway, so now they're in, which means they're going to probably they could buy your concession stuff. They could, they could buy from the rest of us. It's a win-win all across the board.
Yeah.
And you still have people in there. And so the thing is that, like, if they're able to pack the place in the last 2 or 3 hours and we don't sell anything, that's kind of on us more than them. They did their job. All we can ask for them is to put asses in seats.
Yeah.
Get put people in there. Yeah. So if we don't sell to them, that's on us.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good idea.
Because you have that ghost town feeling when you get to the last 3 hours on a Sunday.
Well, and then you have people.
Everybody's bought, and they're just kind of making their way to the exits. So
and then you have people who are trying to leave early.
Yeah. Oh, when your neighbors start packing up, and it's 1 o'clock, and it closes at 5. Now your aisle is emptying, and your chances of selling get less and less and less. But
that would be the
perfect solution. Just all right, free admission for the final 3 hours on Sunday, because that's your dead day.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Steph says, just stay away from Chris Mad variant covers. He's pricey. I have 2 covers by the dude, and it's worth the price. I love his shit. So there, Steph. Of course, now he's going to talk about how much I love Steph or Chris, and shit, he's not wrong. But you know what? I talk to people all the time about this show, and I tell them, man, we're here to shoot the shit, talk about creation, talk about making comics and all that kind of stuff. And you and I have done that. But the one thing we haven't done really is talk about yours and your Kickstarter that's going on right now. And I know that we're not here 100% to do that, but we got to do it at least a little bit. So let's tell people about Immortal Era. Give them that pitch, and let's hear about your book.
All right. So my book right now on Kickstarter is Immortal Era. You can get issues 1 through 7 and 1 through 6 in a trade that'll be available for the first time in Vegas. I did a small run of 25 so I can have them on the table for Vegas this weekend. And the basic premise of the story is it's 200 years in the future in a world without death. So everyone in this world is immortal, but no one has powers or abilities. And we see the struggle between those who want to keep immortality in the world and those who want to restore the natural life cycle and save all of humanity by killing them. So it's got magic, it's got gore, and it's got what's going to be a big battle to bring death back into the world.
And there's been a lot of huge big battles. Like this book has an awful lot of action in it.
Yeah, number 6 was the most action-packed I've done. I mean, there's a lot of action, and my goal is to try to find a balance between too much action and not enough. So, I mean, it has a lot of action, but then issue 7 quiets down a lot. And to answer your question from earlier, you're working on your 3rd. You did 6, 8, and you're 9. Working on 9 right now. So you're on the 3rd one, and then, and beyond from there. So it's one of those things where I try to build, and you talked about it when we were on Travis's show, just building a mythology that kind of reveals itself piece by piece. So I like to
literally
what seems like inconsequential panels or pages that don't get revealed until 5 or 6 issues later.
Yeah.
Because I have a page on issue 3 that we find out its full meaning in issue 9. And I was writing issue 11. I was working on that a few days ago, and I'm making connections to stuff in issue 1. So I like to make it to where that panel or that one dialogue bubble makes a connection later on. So I want to make people that want to read it deep, but also, you can just read it for some mindless wild action too. So,
Yeah.
some people, he said, I don't want any boring shit. I just want action. I'm like, all right, here, start with issue 6 and you'll see a lot of people getting chopped apart.
Well, and I mean, yeah, and I love that because, like, for us with Belial, the second last page of issue 3 connects directly to page 1 of the first book, and where we always had that, I always had that idea of that connection, and we were able to make it even stronger than it was originally going to be, just because time allows you to strengthen those ideas.
Yeah.
So we got your Kickstarter going on. What do you have you funded already?
We funded on, I think it was Friday, but I didn't post any updates or anything because that was my worst day of this cold that I was dealing with. So I had a fever. It was actually my wife and I's anniversary. We didn't even celebrate it. We're like, we have our anniversary on pause until the house is actually healthy again.
Well, congratulations to you guys. How many years have you guys been together?
22 now.
Dude, good for you. Married for 22?
Married for 22, yeah.
Dude, married for 23, so I feel you. Congratulations, man.
Nice. Thank
you. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, especially, when we were growing up, 20 years, standard. You know what I mean? Like, all your friends, your parents, whatever, everybody, their parents have been together for 20 years. Now, people look at us and they're like, 22 years? Are you serious? Yeah, that's insane. You're like, well,
it's like the expiration date's hitting most marriages at 5 years now.
Yeah, it really is. So, yeah, no, dude, I absolutely love this series. I'm having such a blast with it. And yeah, you don't have to give too much away to me because I only need to know what I need to know. Dominic. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, sorry, it did come up here. My anniversary is tomorrow. Been together dating for 10 years. Nice. Congrats! That's awesome, dude. Are you guys like high school sweethearts? Because Dom looks younger.
Yeah.
Him and his lady. So yeah, good for you though. Congrats. That's amazing.
Yeah, we've been together longer. We started dating in high school, so it's been a long
high school sweetheart. Good for you. I mean, I was fresh. I was a year out of high school when I met my wife. Okay. But she was 10 years older than me, so definitely not my high school sweetheart. If she had caught me earlier, I might have been her high school sweetheart, but in a totally different way. Yeah. I started dating senior year. Oh, cool. Congrats, man. That's awesome. So you're running that right now. It's doing well. What's our next stretch goal? Like, what are we aiming for now, or do we have any?
We've unlocked all the stickers. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a sticker for all the covers of issue 7. The next thing we're going to unlock are magnets of the trade covers. And then what I'm really hoping to unlock is the next character pin. Because what I've done is I've done a character pin from Caesar's original drawings that we did when he was just doing character designs. So we did the concept designs for the 5 main characters. We just had the Dr. Man pin unlocked in the last campaign. So now I'm hitting the villains. So the $5,000 stretch goal will be the gang leader or the gang member from issue 1. And then it would be after that, Dr. Nix, then Tristessa, and then it would be one of the age soldiers. And then the final one would be Koa that just got introduced in issue 6. So we would have 5 villains and 5 heroes. So we'd have the 10 pin set.
That's cool. Aaron Dowen. Whoa, where are you coming from, buddy? Good to see you, man.
And
Shit,
Aaron
you do not see that guy around.
Aaron is the editor of issue 7. So
that's right, yeah.
Because my wife had edited issues 1 through 5, and she got in a car accident that was causing migraines, and she couldn't read the computer. So I reached out to you, and I reached out to Aaron, and I said, I'm in a pinch. Can you guys come in and help me out so we can keep everything going? And yeah, Aaron stepped in for issue 7, and he's going to be working with me on the new Corruptor series as well.
Nice. Good stuff. Well, glad to share space with you, Aaron. We haven't been able to work on anything, but technically we both have our name on the same book. We'll have our name on the same trade.
Yeah, when the second trade comes out, your names will both be in there.
So that's pretty badass. Will you ever consider doing an omnibus? You did spell that right.
I would love to. I mean, that would be the ultimate thing, to put out a huge, nice hardcover omnibus when it's all said and done. So
how big is that going to be, though? Because you're looking at, like, you had said something like 36 issues, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the way I have it planned out now, it could be between 24 and 30 issues for the main story. And then I have a lot of side story stuff that would be going on as well. But you could do an omnibus of the core 30.
Yeah.
And I don't know, would it fit? Can you fit 30 in one? I mean, it would be a beast of a volume.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, you can, because, but yours are bigger issues too, right? Or are they around 24?
And then some of them, I mean, that's the one beauty of doing indie, is like, oh shit, I need 32 pages on this one. Cool. It's a 32-page issue.
I'll just do it. Yeah.
You're not confined to like 22, because we got to have that room for ads.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, true. I would love to do an omnibus if we could fit it all in one and make it feasible financially. Because I mean, just doing hardcovers, that's a scary thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I have the Saga. It's not hardcover, but the Saga omnibus. And it's like 54 or 56 issues. So it's doable. Yeah.
It could be done.
That's a big fucking book too.
That would be the best end game, to know that at one point when the series reaches its conclusion, the main story, that I can put out this, fat omnibus with everything in one shot. And I don't know what the hell I'd have to charge for it. It'd probably be like a $200 book, because printing costs for someone like me doing a small number, they'd be crazy. But it would be amazing to have that sitting on the bookshelf.
Yeah, but that's thinking small. Because, and what I mean by that is, by that point, you're not going to be where you are. Just like you're not where you were at issue 2 and 3.
That's true.
To think that by the time you get to an omnibus, you're still going to have to do a small print run, I don't think that's necessarily going to be true. So
yeah, and that's definitely true, because that's years in the making, years in the process, and hopefully years of just gathering those readers out there. Because that's the main objective of the cons, is you want to just build the readership and make people that want to read the next issue, that they're saying, okay, I just finished this one, give me the next one. And the beauty is, with issue 7, we already finished all of the artwork for issue 8. So it's going to be a really quick turnaround with a February or March Kickstarter launch.
That's so cool. Sam, Bobby B Boys. Hey everyone. Always good to see you, buddy. It's funny. Whenever I see Sam on here, I'll give him like a wave or a point or something. He usually screen grabs this with his name here and puts it up on YouTube, which, Sam, I appreciate. That's so awesome of you. But it's funny because usually whenever he does those screen grabs, it's me going like that or giving him a wave or whatever. And so I almost always look like I'm doing the exact same thing every time he does it. So that's fucking hilarious. A Belial omnibus would have to come out in like 2086 at this rate. Dude, I'm going to bring out Belial 4 next year, and it's going to blow your fucking mind. And that's the last issue, by the way. So it'll be perfect. Easy omnibus. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was funny. I was talking to someone recently, and I was like, wait, so I have 3 issues of Belial, 32 pages apiece, plus we've done some shorts.
Yeah.
We've done over 100 pages of Belial.
Yeah, so actually,
and that's already so
that's
it wouldn't
nice
be
trade.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, so you got the 4 issues.
Yeah.
If the 4th issue, I think the 4th issue might go long, but we'll see. But even if it doesn't, 3, 6, 9, 12, 100, so that's 128 plus the shorts and stuff. you're easily talking probably around 140 to 150 pages. So yeah.
Yeah, well, the one I'm doing, the deluxe trade, it hits 200 pages even. So that one, it's got the story, it's got the cover gallery, it has a script to final section, and that hit 200 pages. So you're close to that with just 4 issues. So
Yeah.
that's
That's cool, dude.
that's a nice little size right there.
Yeah. That's cool though, man. I really like that idea. And that's going to be in the one that you're kickstarting right now.
The Kickstarter right now, yeah, I have the 2 versions of the trade. I have just the basic mass market paperback one, and for that one, that's an infinite print. When I run out, I'm gonna print some more. Whereas the hardcover one, I'm starting it at 100, so that way the collectors feel that exclusivity with it, and that one gets you the bonus content. I look at it like, okay, you have those people that when DVDs and Blu-rays were what everybody was buying. Some just want the movie. They don't care if it's letterboxed or any special features. And some people want, the compendium Peter Jackson version with 8 extra discs. So I want to give both crowds what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron Down says, life be crazy. Had to focus on a full life reboot. Glad y'all are doing well. Keep cranking. Right back at you, buddy. Thank you. Steph Wilson says, wow, 4 issues, practically Marvel. You know what, dude? If you do anything besides a fucking art book that your wife did all the work putting together, then we can come talk. But don't you be coming fucking at me for only doing 3 or 4 issues of a book. All right? You ain't done none, motherfucker. Ooh, sexy hardcover variant. You don't do variants of hardcovers, man. Well, we don't. That's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, it's expensive enough to get one.
Yeah, actually, but it's funny. I say that, and I have a hardcover variant of 30 Days of Night, which is it was signed, and it's only 100, only 100, maybe 300 of them made. So
yeah. And that's the kind of thing like at Comic-Con. I bought the Ice Cream Man hardcover variant. So they did that.
Oh, cool.
So I mean, I guess they exist, but in indie markets, I would think they're pretty damn rare.
I've heard of Ice Cream Man, but I've never read it. How is it?
It's good. It's just kind of anthology style, but it has the one overarching villain. So I can't say it's a fun read. It's dark as shit, but that's fun too. So.
Dark as shit can be fun, and I know Steph Wilson loves the horror. Now he's about to blab about how he hates horror. Everything's horror. All these indie people do is horror. He's like, and he's telling me, he's like, "What are you going to do a new book? If you do, please tell me it's not horror." I'm like, "It's not horror. I'm not interested in horror." He's like, "Good, there's way too much horror." I was like, I know. I'm with you on that.
All right. Well, I'll just say my book's not horror, so it can.
Yeah, but your book's. I wouldn't say your book is horror. Your book has aspects of horror too.
Yeah, I mean it's gory.
But I would not say that your book is a horror book. Yeah, your book is a post-apocalyptic fantasy almost.
Yeah, I think it fits more in a fantasy category than in a horror category.
Yeah, it just has, and I mean, it's really at the end of the day, if you were going to give it one singular genre, it would be. See, I told you, another horror comic. Great. If I was going to put Immortal Era into a genre, I would say it's a that it's a post-apocalyptic style book. Oh, okay, cool. And then you can be like, however, it has aspects of horror and fantasy.
Yeah, and I had to sell the gore when I was doing HorrorCon. But HorrorCon ended up being beautiful because there were 2 people selling comic books in the whole building. So
nice.
If people like comics, the choices were limited, and pretty much you saw all the comic fans walking away with 2 books in hand. So
who was there?
What's that?
Who was the other horror guy?
I don't even know the other comic guy. I don't know his name. I mean, he introduced himself. He was a nice guy, but I get lost in a sea of names. So
was this recently?
Yeah, it was October. It was the first weekend of October. And it was this first show in LA. And mostly it was people selling art. And more than anything, it was just, horror actors selling their autograph.
Yeah.
So once you got past the autographs, and if people walked out with any money left, they'd hit up what was there, and there was 2 booksellers in the whole building. So we both did well because any comic fans came right our way. And I just was like, all right, let me just flip to all the gory pages and sell them that way.
Smart, man. That's the way to do it. I mean, I've sold horror fans Belial.
Yeah.
It's not really a horror. It's got aspects.
You can move your marketing that direction and it still works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and like we've talked about it, because it's animated and shit, like if you actually look at it, some of the depictions and the things in it, they are pretty horrific. Like a dude literally has claws rip up through his lower jaw and out of the top of his head. That's fucking disgusting. But it's a comedy and it's very drawn kind of animated. So it's like it almost removes you from that horror, but horror fans still dig it. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
But dude, we're already in an hour. We've done really well. Guys, do you have any questions for Ed before he ends up heading out? Ed, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, at this point, I'm trying to push the campaign and get it to those last stretch goals. And yeah, I mean, to me, it's just an exciting feeling to know I actually have a trade that's going to exist in this world. Because when you put that first book out, it's just filled with uncertainty. The excitement's there, of course, but you think, holy shit, will I ever even get issue 2 out? Because the giant uphill battle it takes to even get one book on the table, people don't realize. Because everybody comes up to you at a con and they're like, I'm a comic writer too, and I'm going to write a book, and what do I need to do? And I said, let's talk price. I said, you see this page? This is how much the art fees cost. This is how much the coloring costs. This is how much the lettering costs. And most people go, never mind, I'm out. I didn't realize it was that much. Unless you have art and great storytelling, then you're ready to roll. But yeah, the thing to make it to issue 6 is just one of those, shake your head
moments. It's a benchmark.
You think you actually got there. You told a full story. It's going to live in a trade, and I've already been told my local library is going to stock it. So to think that someone could walk in the library to the graphic novel section and find my book there, just, crazy feeling.
That's badass, dude. I love it. Steph says, Belial is all ages. Get copies for the kids. Actually, a friend of mine.
I'll give it out with copies of Immortal Era so I can get myself fired.
Right? We had, I actually had a friend of mine who she's like, this is going to be the first comic that my daughter reads. And I was like, she's going to have to wait like 15 years. And she's like,
give it a minute.
It doesn't have sex, does it? I was like, no, but it says fuck an awful lot. She's like, okay, maybe 13. I was like, whatever. You do you, hon. Maybe read it first, though, before you give it to her. Dominic asks, one question I try to ask everyone, what inspired you to make a comic?
For me, I mean, the story actually started as a novel. And I didn't think I could do a comic because I can't draw anything. So I thought comics are out for me. Then I realized, wait, you don't have to be able to draw anything to make a comic. And it was actually the letterer of the book. He's a comic artist. And he said, that story you're talking about would make an amazing comic book. And I just took all these pages and pages of notes and thought, you know what, this would make an amazing comic book. And I've lived my life, loving comics from the moment I could actually read anything. So that's what kind of made me think, if I can make this a comic, that's kind of living the dream that I had as a kid, as I tried to draw my comic books and realized that my artistic talent was at a 0 and it was never going to happen. And now I know, wait, it can, whether you can draw a straight stick man or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Good, man. Steph says the uphill battle getting to the next issue. Fuck you. You don't even have to write well to make a comic. Host in point. You son of a bitch. This guy who only draws circles is going to come at me for my writing. Ugh. Some people's children, man. Dude, Ed, thank you so much for coming out. Before Steph tries to pull any more of his shit, I think we're going to bolt. Can you please tell everyone where to find you and where to track down your fucking amazing book, Immortal Era?
So you can find me. All of my social media is under Finish Line Comics. right now, go to Kickstarter, put in Immortal Era, and you'll find the book right there. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all under Finish Line Comics. TikTok, there's not much content there, but I did get David Garinger to do a badass opening sequence of the issue 1 animated with voice actors. So definitely check that out. That's the highlight of my horrible TikTok, because I'm not going to do shitty lip syncing like I see everybody else doing.
Right.
So I'll put content when I have something that people want to see. And that's why I got like 4 likes, because I need to get sexier and better at doing bad lip syncing.
And Dominic says, I've been learning to draw a little from Steph's YouTube channel. How many fucking videos can he possibly have on how to draw a circle? I mean, really. So Dominic Colby, join us live on Thursday. Yeah, you guys have fun. We're going to bolt. Please do check out Immortal Era. It is an amazing book. I've read it all, literally. And I'm currently going over 9, which is a fucking banger of an issue. He's bringing it. He's trying to head for that big issue 12 finish. So we got a lot going on, and with issue 9, it's only getting better.
Issue 12 is going to be a monster, and it's going to blow up that world as we know it. So I'm excited to get there, but right now I'm slogging through 11 to get to 12, where I know it's our money shot.
And you guys are only halfway there. You got issue 7 coming in hot, and issue 8, like he said, is probably going to be coming in early next year. So, dude, he's making it happen. Pick it up. Check it out. It's going to be such a great time. Ed, thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate you, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. I always love being on your show.
Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. Next week, guys, we've got Josh Nealis. It's going to be a great show. I have so much good stuff coming up this month. First day of November, and I'm telling you, this month already is going to be kick-ass on the show, even if Steph is going to probably be in the audience. But Steph, I've got some good artists for you. You guys have a good one. My name is Chuck, and I give a fuck. Take care, everybody.